Okay, so in this chart, to make a template of it, the way I have it all set up, I put my levels I kind of pay attention to back in there. In the template, there's no levels. So I go to template section. So these settings, you can use these same settings on Quant Tower. So let's see, if I were going to go load the template, I'll show you the name of it. Okay, this template for this chart that we just talked about is the MNQ 37 Superbands. Now, of course, this is a NinjaTrader 8 template, but the settings that I just reviewed on that chart, you can set those same settings up for Quant Tower, when you're working with any of the Renko types. So I always call this my left chart, like for visual trading. So this is, right now we're talking about visual manual discretionary trading. So I have my right chart and left chart. In the past, I used to have this chart on a higher time frame, and I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to sync them up, and it works just fine. Okay, now let's go. So that's the super bands chart. Here's the same time frame. I'm on a 37 Renko. So each one of the bodies, so each body of every candlestick is 37 ticks in vertical height. So that's what that means. That works for me on NT8. And let's talk about this chart. So here I have the AIQ indicator, super responsive. Let's take a look at those settings real quick. We covered the super bands. Now let's get into the AIQ. I have them very responsive. I want to see a lot of momentum signals, and just right as soon as they're starting to show me a burst of momentum, I want to see them. Not that I'm going to take them all, but if I'm getting W patterns, M patterns, excursions outside of the bands of the fast bands outside the main bands and coming back inside, or I'm getting patterns, I want to right away, as quick as the criteria are in place, I want to see the signal. So I'm on a 5-period 0 MA10, but always check better formula. I don't have any of the sounds on. You can have them on. Dots don't apply. I don't have them on. My square, the distance above and below price is 0.05. Size of my square is set to a 12. Full opacity. And then I have the up dot color, down dot color, and the vertical lines for the reversal signals, all colored transparent. So basically, the only thing I do is I have up bar color and up bar wick for the hybrid Heikin-Ashi that we use, where we put our math into it. I have those all synced up. And then I have the square bull and bear color set. And I always turn off price markers and so on. So that's the settings. They're in the template that I put at the Revolt website in the NT template section. So I've been holding off from templates just because every time I change the indicator, I got to go basically redo templates, or there's a potential they won't work. So yeah, templates are like, they're tough because every time you make a change, technically you need to go update all the templates to make sure the template incorporates the newest version of the indicator. Now that I think the indicators are getting in a stabilized sense, we're not going to be doing a lot to them, I don't mind going up and starting to populate more and more templates. Okay, let's get into that's my left chart. So these are my actionable daily. I'm going to go in and mix it up with the market with the MNQ. Now you can use pretty much these same settings for the NQ. You can adjust as needed. You might need to adjust the time frame up and down a little bit. And what I've talked about in prior videos, the time frame of your chart is always important. If you're on too low of a Renko time frame where the candles and the signals and the price action are happening too fast for you, slowly with the granular ability to keep growing the size of your Renko, start at 33. If that's too fast, go to 34. If that's too fast, I would suggest going odd numbers, not evens. There's reasons behind it that I won't cover now. So 33, 35, 37. If that's still too fast for you, you might need to go to a 39 or a 41. If you're going to do intraday work, anything above a 45, you're kind of getting out of an intraday chart and you're moving more to a chart that'd be used for only seeing the bigger picture structural moves. That would be like intraday position trading. Start getting into any of the charts in the 50s and above. Now you're almost getting into leaving intraday position trading to swing trading. So just kind of think of it, 19s. I know some people actually in a 17 Renko, but they like hyper scalping. They've showed me some of their setups and they're wild, but the charts are moving fast. That's not for me. But I understand what they're looking for and why that works. So I would say, way down there in the hyper scalping, 17s up to in the 30s, you're in that scalping realm, intraday scalping. Where you're going for trades that are typically 30, 40, 50, maybe on occasion 60, 70 point moves. A lot of 20 something and 30 point moves. Okay, you start leaving the 30s, getting into the 40s. You're getting into intraday position trading. Start leaving the 40s, getting into the 50 Renkos and above. Now you're moving into swing trading. So there's kind of three modes. There's scalping, then intraday position trading, and swing trading. Now, some traders find out that scalping is not for them. They want to just catch the bigger picture structural moves, but they're intraday trading. They got to be out of their positions by end of the day. You want to be in the higher 30s into the 40s probably for your time frames. That should get you, so you'll just see the bigger picture moves, and maybe even to the 50s, like a 51, a 53, and so on. That's your comfort level. But the settings should all, for the most part, still work. Maybe not need much of any massaging at all if you deviate above or below 37. If you go lower to really low time frames, you need to slow down the indicators a bit. If you go up to really, really high time frames, you might need to speed up the indicators, make them slightly more responsive to fine tune it to that time frame. And again, I'll say this, we don't want everybody on all the same settings. So I'll put out some templates, but I'm not a big templates guy because then it creates a bit of codependency where everybody's that kind of doesn't want to really learn how to work with the tools to personalize them to what fits for them visually and mentally. And we got everybody all stampeding on each other on hundreds of prop accounts all doing the exact same thing at the exact same time. I mean that potential is there. I'm trying to keep that from happening. So we've covered left chart, all done. Let's go to right chart. Right chart, let's get into my AIQ1 settings. Now, could you put the super bands on here and just maybe turn off the fast bands, color them up transparent so you only see the super bands and color them something interesting? Sure, you could. I already see on a 37 where price is in relation to them, and I'm 37 here, so I don't need them on this chart, and it would just clutter things up too much. But, in the end, personalize the charts for what works for you. Okay, the AIQ1, I'm on a 5. So all that, just wanted to kind of make sure you see all that. So that's the main thing. I've got the I guess you call it the reversal mode of the indicators, the dots and the vertical lines color transparent. But here my square size is only a 10. And for some reason on this one, I like it a little bit bigger, but 10, 11, 12, 7, whatever you need, however big you want your squares. And then to move the squares closer to the Heikin-Ashi bars, you would just reduce the square, and it's really, I don't know, it shouldn't be percentage above, but that's the terminology. But if you go to like a 0.03, it's going to tighten that real close, and you might lose the signal in and amongst the band line. So I that works for me where they're at. But the key is we're on a 5-0 MA10 use better formula. Okay, that covers that. Now let's get into the bands, the AIQ bands. These bands, the only reason I have them on there is I'm looking for hook points. I'm looking for, W or M patterns in the actual indicator. Like there's a little M and rollover. I just use it to help me frame up the market's making higher pivot lows. I can see that, I got a W pattern with then a higher pivot low and so on. You know what I'm saying? I kind of, there's like a M pattern just screaming out to me. A nice big sweep up, sweep down, big sweep up, sweep down, not a little sweep and then down. I like the big sweep up. Very easy to see. I got a big fat M pattern in there and then I get the mom signal. Here I got a beautiful W pattern and then the mom signal. Here we lift out of there with authority, and if I remember, we had done a level sweep right in here. Then I get a pullback and lift. Now I get a higher pivot low, trend continuation type trade. Here I got a big fat W, So the outlining price action a bit with the band set pretty tight helps me see that. So equal pivot lows, higher pivot low, lift, signal. I can see all that a little bit clearer than if I just watch price. So like a lot of times I'm not sitting here staring at my chart. I'm sitting at my desk and my laptop might be like way over on part of my desk. And I'm kind of paying more attention to what I'm seeing. Where's price in relation to levels? Am I getting the stair-stepping higher hooks? That means I'm going from a reversal to now a developing and running trend. Am I in congestion? See how the cyclical is the congestion going up? Is it going down? That's usually accumulation, and you're going to get continuation. And boy, did we have that Friday. I just was like, I knew this was going to shoot higher on Friday. Institutionals were absorbing their asses off. There was a lot of selling of stocks Friday late here on, what was that, July 25th. There was a lot of selling going on, and institutionals were buying 0DT options and futures like there was no tomorrow to cancel out the stock selling of people wanting to take profits into Friday. So right out of the open, they suckered people in with a little bit of short, got people short thinking we're going to go down to a level that wasn't too far below. They just came in and worked it, and then they were just, anybody that was selling, they were doing just a little bit more buying. And it was constant. We get slapped down, they absorbed. Slapped down, they absorbed. They absorbed. So what was I doing? I was getting long, taking some off. Another cycle, getting long, taking some off. And then we got the run up to the prior all-time high. It was like, this is going up absolutely for sure, and it ripped. So I did really good on Friday. And again, I was seeing that. Look at the pattern of the bands. All the little pullback troughs are higher. All it's higher. Yeah, you can see it in price, but I was watching my laptop from a distance because I was in positions, and I was, wanting to make sure I see everything maintained. And then once we got the pop and we're going linear, I knew we're going to make it. I just like, for sure, it's a Friday. The volume's light. We're absolutely going to go in and take out this prior all-time high and make a brand new all-time never before traded high in the NASDAQ. And she pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And that was it. I was done for my day. So I had to sit there and watch that crap all day on a Friday when the rest of my family was out having fun. They kept saying, like, are you done yet? Are you done yet? I'm like, no, sorry, I'm long, and I know this baby's going to rip. And then it finally did. So I got paid to play. I played, I waited. Game took a long time, but I finally got paid. So to wrap up this video, let's look at those band settings. 50 MA10, better formula. ATR period I have at 50, and I have the multiplier set very narrow so the bands hug up against price. And this is a template. Let me show it to you real quick. So at Revolt platform, you'll see it as the MAQ 37 bands, and more videos on settings and templates next.